This will be the second and most awful part of section 8.2. And this is solving a system of 3 equations and 3 unknowns using matrices. Quite honestly, if I had to solve a system of 3 equations and 3 unknowns, I wouldn't use matrices because they're too tedious. If you get into Math 218, you may do some equations that have more than 3 equations and 3 unknowns and have to do some matrix manipulation to solve them, but it's a little bit different matrix manipulation, and I won't ask anything from the second part of the video on the test. In fact, I'm just going to do 2 problems just to get you familiar with these, and I'll do your problem 13 and your problem 15, and if all you do is go through the videos and kind of write what I write and just kind of basically understand it, you won't be responsible for these problems on the test. And as long as you have problems 13 and 15 in your notes when you show them to me, if you don't have problems 17 and 19 from this section done, don't worry about it. I'll still let you use a note card. So you're only going to be responsible in this part of the video for completing problems 13 and problem 15 by hand, and you can just kind of copy what I write and just try to understand as much as anything what I'm writing, and don't worry so much if you're feeling a bit overwhelmed, because this is really overwhelming. It takes a long time to get good at this. Doesn't take that long to do it on my calculator, though. My calculator doesn't make it any harder to do. This is just as easy on my calculator as the last problem. I'm going to make a matrix. I'm going to make a column for the x numbers, which are -1, 2, and 5. A column for the y coefficients, which are 1, 3, and 4. A column for the z coefficients, which are 2, 1, and 2. A line for my equal sign, and then the numbers to the right of the equals columns are 1, -2, and 4. On my calculator, I'm going to put this in matrix A. This has 1, 2, 3 rows and 1, 2, 3, 4 columns. I'm going to enter matrix A as a 3x4 matrix and do RREF A so I can figure out what my answer is going to be, and then we'll go through the monster process of getting this by hand. So on my calculator, first let's enter this. So second x inverse for matrix, arrow over to edit, type in 3, enter, 4, enter, and then -1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, -2, 5, 4, 2, and 4. Quit out of this, double check that I have this entered right. So -1, 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3, 1, and -2, 5, 4, 2, and 4. Looks entered right. So now, second matrix, math, RREF, second matrix, enter, enter, gives me this new matrix that says 1, which is the final matrix. Final matrix is 1, 0, 0, 2, 0, 1, 0, -3, 0, 0, 1, 3. The answer is going to be x equal to 2, y equal to -3, z equal to 3. That's because the top row really says 1x plus 0y plus 0z equals to 2. The 0y and the 0z cancel out, and that reduces to x equal to 2. The middle row says 0x plus 1y plus 0z equals -3, and the 0x and the 0z cancel out, and you get y equal to -3. The bottom row says 0x plus 0y plus 1z equals to 3, and the 0x and the 0y cancel out, and you get z equal to 3. So the answer is x equal to 2, y equal to -3, z equal to 3. Need to figure out how to get there by hand, and it's going to take doing the elimination method 6 times, and it's going to involve bunches of paper. So I'm going to go from the first matrix to the second matrix on one sheet of paper. So my first matrix that I'm just copying, it's off screen now, you can't see it anymore. Hopefully I actually copy it right. Copying it wrong, of course, is going to make everything wrong after the first mistake. So once you make a mistake, anything after that mistake is wrong. Step 1, leave the top row the same. Pair the top row with the other two and eliminate the x's. So my second matrix is going to have the top row of -1, 1, 2, and 1. It's going to have a new middle row and a new bottom row. Now I'm going to pair the top row, -1, 1, 2, and 1, with the middle row, 2, 3, 1, and -2. And I'm going to pair the top row, -1, 1, 2, and 1, with the bottom row, 5, 4, 2, and 4. I'm going to eliminate the x's, which is the first column. In the first one, I'm going to multiply by 2 to get a -2 and +2 to cancel. So I'm going to go through and multiply. 2 times -1 is -2. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 1 is 2. Leave the bottom row, 2, 3, 1, -2. Add these together, get 0, 5, 5, and 0. That kind of surprises me. All of those numbers are divisible by 5. So divide by 5, divide by 5, divide by 5, divide by 5, and I'm going to get 0, 1, 1, and 0. This now is going to be, because I'm using the middle row, I'm going to stuff it in the middle row. So my middle row in my second matrix is going to be 0, 1, 1, and 0. Double checking myself right now because that was surprising, but I think it's right. Here, to eliminate that x, I'm going to multiply the top by 5 and go 5 times -1 is -5, 5 times 1 is 5, 5 times 2 is 10, 5 times 1 is 5. Leave the bottom row at 5, 4, 2, and 4. Combined 0, 9, 12, and 9. All of those numbers are divisible by 3, so I'm going to divide them by 3 just to make the numbers smaller. It's always to my advantage to divide to make numbers smaller if I can. This is now going to be my bottom row for my second matrix. So I'm going to write a 0, 3, 4, and 3. So step 1, leave the top row the same, pair the top row with the other two, and eliminate the x's, which I've just done. I paired the top with the middle, top with the bottom, eliminate the x's, eliminate the x's, left the top row the same, made a new middle and a new bottom row. I'm going to transfer this second matrix onto another sheet of paper, and I'll just copy when you can't see the matrix so I can have more room here. My second matrix is -1, 1, 2, 1, and this is just copying that's something that's off screen. So 0, 1, 1, and 0, 0, 3, 4, and 3. That's just taking that second matrix, copying it right down. Next two, step 2 is going to leave the middle row the same. I'm going to pair the middle row with the other two and drop the y's. So step 1, take the top with the other two, drop the x's. Step 2, pair the middle with the other two, drop the y's. Step 3, pair the bottom with the other two and drop the z's. My third matrix is going to have that same 0, 1, 1, 0 because the middle row is going to stay the same. Let me now pair that middle row with the other two. So I'm going to take the middle row 0, 1, 1, and 0, pair it with the top row, negative 1, 1, 2, and 1, and take the middle row 0, 1, 1, and 0, and pair it with the bottom row 0, 3, 4, and 3. I'm going to drop out the y's. In this one, I'm going to multiply this all by a negative 1 to get a 1 and a negative 1 to cancel. So I'm going to leave this 0, 1, 1, 0, that's up top, and go negative 1 times negative 1 is 1, negative 1 times positive 1 is negative 1, negative 1 times positive 2 is negative 2, negative 1 times positive 1 is negative 1. Combine those and get 1, 0, negative 1, and negative 1. Because I use the top row, I'm going to put this in the top row. So my top row is going to be 1, 0, negative 1, and negative 1. Next step, to eliminate the y's, I'm going to multiply this by negative 3. Go negative 3 times 0 is 0. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. Negative 3 times 0 is 0. And leave the 0, 3, 4, 3. Combine and get 0, 0, 1, and 3. That's going to be my bottom row. So that's 0, 0, 1, and 3. Done with the second matrix. Now I'm moving on to my third matrix. I'm going to write this on its own sheet of paper and move on to my last step. So my third matrix, which I have off screen here, I'm just copying the matrix that I just flashed off the screen. So I just copied that matrix back down just to make it easy for myself. Okay, last step. Leave the bottom row the same. Pair the bottom with the other two and drop out the z's. So the next thing is going to take me to my final matrix. My final matrix, the bottom row is going to stay 0, 0, 1, and 3 because on each step one row doesn't change. On the first step the top row doesn't change. On the second step the middle row. On the third step the bottom row. And now let me pair the bottom with the other two. So the bottom is 0, 0, 1, and 3. I'm going to pair it with the tops of 1, 0, negative 1, and negative 1. And I'm going to take the bottom 0, 0, 1, and 3, pair it with the middle 0, 1, 1, and 0, and I'm going to eliminate the z's. First step, eliminate the x's, then eliminate the y's, then eliminate the z's. Lovely that these two can just be added together to drop those out. So I'm going to add them 0 plus 1, 0 plus 0, 1 plus negative 1, 3 and negative 1 is positive 2. Because I use the top row, this is going to be my new top row. Working on this to drop this out, I'm going to multiply this row by a negative 1. Go negative 1 times 0, negative 1 times 0, negative 1 times 1, negative 1 times 3. Stack that on top to 0, 1, 1, 0. Add these together. 0 plus 0 is 0. 0 plus 1 is 1. Negative 1 plus 1 is 0. Negative 3 plus 0 is negative 3. This will become my middle row. And I get 0, 1, 0, negative 3. Magically, when I did the work on my calculator at the beginning, my calculator had 1002, 010, negative 3, 0013. I finally matched my calculator's answer. The answer is 2, negative 3, 3. The numbers are generally in the right-hand column for your answer. All right, that's one. I just want to do one more with you. I'll walk through 15 with you and do everything exactly the same way, at least the best I can. So for problem 15, my first matrix is going to be negative 5, -1, 3, equal sign, -14, and then -2, 2, -6, 16, 1, 7, 2, and -5. I'm going to enter this as a 3x4 matrix in matrix A. Do RREFA and get a matrix that I can read the answers off of. So clear all this out. Second matrix, edit this. This is a 3x4 matrix. It's so easy to enter numbers wrong. So many times when I do the videos over this section, I wind up doing them like 3 times because I make silly mistakes, which I might have just done. Let me check this. -5, -1, 3, -14, -2, 2, -6, 16, 1, 7, 2, -5. Let me quit out of this and just make sure I have it entered right. So -5, -1, 3, -14, -2, 2, -6, 16, 1, 7, 2, -5 looks good. So now second matrix math, RREF, second matrix names, parentheses, enter. So I get 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, -3. My answer should be x equal to 1, y equal to 0, z equal to -3, and we'd probably write that as 1, 0, -3 rather than writing the letter next to each number. Alright, so that's what I'm shooting for in problem 15. Let me do the math to get there. So I'm going to go from the first matrix to the second matrix. Just copying down the first matrix that I just wrote down. First step, top row does not change. I'm going to pair the top with the other two and drop out the x. So to get my second matrix, I need to do some algebra. But I also need to know what doesn't change. In the first step, the top row doesn't change. On the second step, the middle row doesn't change. And on the last step, the bottom row doesn't change. So there's my beginning of my second matrix. Now let me take that top row, -5, -1, 3, -14, pair it with the middle row. Numbers are scary big in terms of me making a mistake. So hopefully I don't mess up this and have to re-record this. So now I need to eliminate the x's. For this one, I'm going to make a 10 and a -10. I'm going to multiply this by 2 to get a -10, this by -5 to get a +10. So 2 times -5 is -10, 2 times -1 is -2, 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times -14 is -28. Bottom, -5 times -2 is +10. -5 times +2 is -10. -5 times -6 is +30. -5 times 16 is -80, I think. Combine and get 0, -12, 36. Off screen, I'm combining the 80 and the 28 and getting 108, -108. I wonder if all those numbers are divisible by 12. I wonder if 108 divided by 12 is a very nice number, and it is. I'm going to divide all of these numbers by -12. So I'm going to go 0 divided by -12, -12 divided by -12, and all the numbers by -12. 0 divided by -12 is 0. -12 divided by -12 is 1. 36 divided by -12 is -3. And a -108 divided by -12 is +9. Because I was working with the middle row, I'm going to put this in my middle row. Move on to the next pair. I'm going to eliminate that x by multiplying the bottom by 5. I'm going to leave the top at -5, -1, 3, -14. Then I'm going to go 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times 7 is 35. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times -5 is -25. Combine, get 0. 34, 13, and -39. This really worries me. I don't see any mistakes. I'm double, triple checking the work in my head. So 5, 35, 10, -25. Making sure I wrote all the numbers down right, which is a really imperative. 0, 34, 13. I don't see a mistake. I could regret going on to the next page, but I don't see a mistake, nor do I see a number I can divide by. That's really, really awful. I'm just going to stare at this for another second, just because I don't believe that's the right bottom row. -5, -1, 3, -14. 1, 7, 2, -5. 5, 35, 10, -25. I don't see a mistake. I just want to feel there's a mistake, but I don't think there is. And the numbers are just what they are. So my second matrix I'm going to copy down. Pray that it's right, because if my second matrix is wrong, everything I write after this point is going to be wrong and have to be redone. So on my second matrix, the second row doesn't change. First matrix, the first row doesn't change. I'm going to pair that second, or middle row, with the others and drop the y. First step, pair the top row with the other two, drop the x's. Second step, middle with the other two, drop the y's. Last, bottom with the other two, drop the z's. So for my third matrix, I know that the second row is going to stay the same at 0, 1, -3, and 9. Now I'm going to pair that 0, 1, -3, and 9 with the top row. That's a nice pairing. And I'm going to pair it with the bottom row, which is a not such nice pairing. Really hope I don't have to shoot this video again, but I'm worried that's going to happen. So I'm dropping out the y's. Here I can just add together and get the y's to drop out. So 0 plus -5 is -5. 1 plus -1 is 0. -3 plus 3 is 0. 9 plus -14 is, I think it's, forget it, -9 plus 14 is 5. I'm going to divide all of these by -1 because I can. And I'm getting a mistake. Oh, it should be -5. Oh no, fix my mistake. Divide by -5, divide by -5, divide by -5, divide by -5, and get 1, 0, 0, 1. That's going to be my top row. On to this mess. Eliminate the y's. I'm going to multiply this top row by -34. This is where I'm really worried. -34 times 0 is is 0. -34 times 1 is -34. -34 times -3 is positive 102. And -34 times 9 is -306. Bottom row I'm leaving 0, 34, 13, and -39. This is going to give me 0, 0, 102 plus 13 is 115. -306 minus 39 is -345. Let me divide by 115. So divide by 115, divide by 115, divide by 115, divide by 115. This is 0, 0, 1. And then negative 345 divided by 115 is negative 3. Bottom row is going to be 0, 0, 1, and negative 3. Feeling good about this. I have my third matrix done. One more step to get to my final matrix. So I'm going to write that third matrix down. I'm just going to copy it from what I have written in front of me that you can't see. I have 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, negative 3, 9, 0, 0, 1, negative 3. In this one, the bottom stays the same. I'm going to pair the bottom and drop out the z's. So in my final matrix, the bottom row 0, 0, 1, negative 3 is going to stay the same. I'm going to pair the bottom 0, 0, 1, negative 3 with 1, 0, 0, and 1. And 0, 0, 1, and negative 3 with the middle 0, 1, negative 3, and 9. Let me work on this side first because it's the easier side to talk about. I'm going to eliminate the z's by multiplying this top by 3. I'm going to go 3 times 0 is 0, 3 times 0 is 0, 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times minus 3 is minus 9, and get 0, 1, negative 3, and 9. Combine these together and get 0, 1, 0, and 0. This is going to be the middle because I used the middle row. So my middle row is going to have a 0, 1, 0, and 0. Move over to the one I didn't care to talk about. I wanted to eliminate that z and make that z a 0. That z is already a 0. Because that z is already a 0, there's no need to modify. The top row is okay. The top row has a 0 in the z column, so there's no work to do here. My goal is to get a 0 in the z column in the top row, and it's already there. So I'm just going to copy it back down from the second matrix to the third matrix, and magically, when I compare what my calculator gave me as a reduction and what I just came up with, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, negative 3, I've matched my calculator perfectly, and that's what I need to do. My final matrix is the same matrix I get by doing RREFA. The answers are in the right-hand column, x equal to 1, y equal to 0, z equal to negative 3. I'm going to stop there, and you certainly can stop there as well. If you just really feel the desire, you can go back and do problems 17 and 19 if you just feel the need, to be that thorough. Here's problem 17 for you, just in case you just feel the need. And there's problem 19. You're more than welcome to do those. You won't be asked on a test to do this X, Y, and Z matrices problems by hand, but you certainly can if you want to give it a go.